Welcome to the lesson on matrix operations. We're going to plug in matrix addition, matrix or scalar multiplication, and matrix multiplication into the graphing calculator. We're also going to find the determinant of a matrix. So there are two ways to plug in matrices into the calculator. Let's look at the shortcut method. We're going to add the matrix 2468 plus 350 negative 1. So we're going to use the shortcut button, which we access that through the green button, the alpha button, and F3, which is the zoom button. Once we press alpha F3, you see that we get to choose our dimensions of our matrix. So our matrix is a 2 by 2, so we're going to scroll to the right and highlight. Mine is already highlighted, a 2. To change your dimension, you would just scroll to that number, put the little square around the number and press enter, and it will highlight that number. So I'm going to scroll back and change it back to 2, press enter. Then you're going to scroll down and change the column dimension. Again, mine is already a 2. You want to change yours to a 2. And then you need to scroll down and press OK. Once we do that, we see a 2 by 2 matrices that we're ready to type our numbers into. It automatically defaults to 0, 0, 0, 0. All we have to do is to type over these numbers. So we're going to type 2, and then we're going to press the right arrow key. That'll get us to the next column, which is a 4. And then we press the right arrow key, which will automatically get us to the second row, first column, which is a 6. Right arrow key, and then type in the 8. To come out of this matrix, we're going to press the right arrow key, and now we're ready to tell it to add it. And now we're going to type in another matrix. So let's go back to alpha F3, which is the zoom button. And our second matrix is also a 2 by 2. So notice we already have that highlighted. So let's just scroll down to OK. Press enter. And we're going to type over the zeros. Type a 3. Scroll to the right. Then a 5. Scroll to the right. We're going to leave that as 0, so we're just going to scroll to the right to get out from that. So I had to press the right button twice. And then negative 1. The negative is down at the bottom of the screen. And then a 1. We're going to scroll to the right. And then we're going to press enter. And our answer is also going to be a 2 by 2 matrices, 5, 9, 6, 7. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a 2 by 2 to a 2 by 1. So here's the next way you can access this. If you don't have the shortcut buttons, you can use the matrix button. And to access that, you press the second button and then the X raised to the negative 1, or the inverse button. Notice in blue it says matrix. Now we have to input our matrices. So we're going to scroll over to edit. And we're going to choose the first matrix. It's going to be called matrix A. Once we choose that, we have to tell the calculator what our dimensions are. So remember our dimensions are a 2 by 2. So we're going to type in a 2, and then right, and then a 2. And once we type in these dimensions, the zeros will appear below. And now we just type in the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8. So 2, enter, 4, enter, 6, enter, and then 8, enter. Now we're going to have to quit this matrix. Then we're going to go back into the matrix mode. So second inverse button, or second matrix. We're going to edit. So we're going to scroll to the right to go to edit, but then we have to scroll down because now we want to identify our second matrix, which is a 2 by 1. So we scroll down to the B matrix, press enter. And we have to tell the calculator the dimensions. So we're going to type in a 2, and then scroll to the right, and then a 1. We're going to scroll to the right. Actually, I'm going to press enter. And there, I'm going to be able to type in my numbers 3 and then negative 1. So I'm going to type a 3, and then press enter, and then type a negative 1, press enter. And now I'm going to quit because I got to come out of the matrix mode. And now I'm ready to actually add these. So the way to add them, once you've plugged them in, now you go back to second matrix. And I'm going to choose matrix A. So all I'm going to do at this point is just to press enter. and then I'm going to put addition sign, and I've already plugged in my value, so now I've got to go back and choose matrix B. So second matrix, and I need to scroll down to choose matrix B, press enter, and now the calculator knows what the numbers are because we've already plugged them in, so now I'll just press enter. Notice what it says. Error dim mismatch. That means dimension mismatch. You should know that you cannot add matrices unless the dimensions are exactly the same. So if you get this error message, you should know that you have either typed in the dimensions incorrectly, or maybe the original problem couldn't have been added or subtracted anyway. So you could go to the Go To button, which is the second button. So I'm going to scroll down, and the calculator will tell me what's wrong with it. So once I plug in, go to the Go To button, see where the cursor is, there's something wrong with matrix B. So we know that matrix B is a 2 by 1, and it needs to be a 2 by 2 in order to add it. All right, so I'm going to clear this out, and I'm ready to do scalar multiplication. You can see that the shortcut button is a lot easier to use. I'm going to multiply 2 times the matrix 1, 0, negative 7. So this is a matrix that's a 1 by 3. So I'm going to use my shortcut button, which is the alpha F3. And I'm going to choose it a 1. So I need to scroll to the 1, press enter. And then scroll down to the columns. And I'm going to have 3 columns. So I'm going to press enter. And once I have the dimensions changed, I press OK. So scroll down to OK, press enter. And now I'm ready to type in 1. And then 0, I need to scroll to the right. A 0 is already there, so I scroll to the right again. And then negative 7. Scroll to the right to get out from the matrix, press enter. And my scalar multiplication gives me 2, 0, negative 14. Okay, now I'm going to multiply a matrix times a matrix. Remember that the inner dimensions have to be the same, so we're multiplying a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 1, so it will actually work. It will multiply. So let's plug this in. We're going to use the shortcut buttons again. Alpha F3. We're going to multiply a 2 by 2. So 2 rows. Press enter. Scroll down to the 2. Press enter to change it. Scroll down to OK. Press enter. And my 2 by 2 is 2, 3, 1, 4. So I'm going to type in 2. Press enter. Press scroll to the right. 3. Scroll to the right, 1, scroll to the right, and 4. If you had accidentally pressed enter in the matrix, you would see that it would take you out of your matrix operation and you'd have to start back over. So it's not the end of the world if that happens, but try to remember just to scroll to the right. Now I'm ready to multiply. Now the calculator will understand if I put another matrix right up against this matrix that they're supposed to be multiplied. If it makes you feel better, you can put a multiplication symbol. I'm actually going to scroll back and delete that and just put my matrix there to show you that it will actually multiply. So I'm going to put my 2 by 1 matrix. I'm going to press alpha F3. I want it to be a 2 row and 1 column, so I'm going to change that column to a 1, press enter, and then scroll down to OK, press enter, and it is 7, 8, so I'm going to type in 7, scroll to the right, 8, scroll to the right to get out of the matrix, press enter to multiply, and there's my answer. Now we're going to find the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix. To find the determinant, we're going to scroll back or go back to the math button. No, we're going to use the second button and matrix. Once you use the second button and matrix, notice at the top of the screen it has names and then math. We already used the names button and the edit button, but the math button, if you scroll to the right, has all the matrix operations in here. The first one, DET, is where you find the determinant of a matrix, so we're going to choose that. And then we're going to type in our matrix. So now we have to plug in this 2 by 2 matrix. So I'm going to type in alpha F3. I want it to be a 2 by 2, so I'm going to have 2 rows. I've already got that highlighted. Scroll down to 2 columns, press enter. Scroll down to OK. And now I'm going to type my numbers in. 1, scroll to the right. 2, scroll to the right. 3, scroll to the right. and 4. Scroll to the right to get out from the matrix. Good practice tells us to close that parentheses, although the calculator will, in fact, calculate it without the closed parentheses. As you can see, the answer has already appeared, even without me pressing enter. If I press enter, there we go. The answer is -2. That concludes our lesson on matrix operations.